What's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Stock Talk, series I make whenever I feel it's necessary, where we cover some exciting news and price action in regard to some of the stocks I've been talking about on the channel. Today's case, you guys already know the deal. We are covering my single favorite sector in the entire stock market right now, and that is Bitcoin related stocks, more specifically Bitcoin miners. So in this order, Riot Blockchain, Marathon Patent Group, and Hive Blockchain are the three Bitcoin mining companies, Bitcoin mining stocks that we're going to be talking about today. Got some news, got some technicals to look over with you guys. So freaking bullish on the sector. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm probably not going to be talking about many other sectors right now just because I'm so focused and so bullish on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and all the stocks related. I also want to say that some of you may have heard the news of MicroStrategy, the company infamous for adding about $500 million of Bitcoin to their balance sheet not too long ago. Just before I started recording this video, before I sat down, they released their earnings call, okay? And they impressed. They're up almost 8% after hours. Super exciting to see. And you guys, that's just the power of what happens when a company adds Bitcoin to their balance sheet and it goes up, okay? So they have an appreciating asset. All this to say that I will be making an individual analysis on MicroStrategy. I feel like it deserves it, and I feel like we should really dig into those earnings. So I will be recording that right after this. I'm not sure if, because it's so exciting, I might want to release that before this video. But just know that, I mean, if I did release it already, I hope you guys liked it. But if not, keep an eye out for that because MicroStrategy is super exciting right now. Shout out to the newsletter for MicroStrategy. It's been on there for a while, and those calls are going to absolutely pop off tomorrow. Okay, so let's get into it. As always, we'll go over each topic that we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. So speaking of the newsletter, just the one I sent out this morning, I want to go over it with you guys, at least the intro. You guys know how we do these. So the intro to the newsletter this morning, just because it really sets kind of my current thoughts, really sums up my thoughts on Bitcoin at this point in time and just how bullish I am on Bitcoin, especially considering it's starting to break correlation to equities, which is making me even that much more bullish. There's so many, like there were already enough stars aligning for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but now that it's breaking correlation to equities, it's that much more exciting. Okay, so we'll kick it off with this just to set the precedent for Bitcoin, because obviously what the performance of Bitcoin heavily affects the performance of these Bitcoin miners. Okay, so that's that should be obvious, but of course we got to talk some Bitcoin. Moving on to some other news, Riot Blockchain stock near the top of the software application industry. So this news is not like crazy good news by any means, but it's just good to see news out there. This article was just released today at the time that I'm recording this, October 27th. So this is great news. Just seeing these names out here, you guys, keep in mind these are still such small companies. Not too many people know about these. The people, us, we're lucky enough to be in this early to where, I mean, again, we're just early. We're earlier than everyone else. I've been following Riot Blockchain for so long that it's kind of hard for me to even imagine not knowing about Riot, just because, again, I've been in it. I've been following their story and the stock and held it for so freaking long that it's hard to imagine not hearing about it and not understanding that it's such a promising stock. But keep in mind, you guys, it's still so early. The far majority of people have no idea what Riot Blockchain is, Marathon Patent Group especially, and Hive Blockchain. Okay, so remember that, guys, we're still super early. Even if we see this crazy price action like we have over the past couple of days, just remember that it's still so early in the grand scheme of things in market cap, I mean price per share, and just overall exposure. Okay, so that's important. We will touch on this really quickly. We will also touch on some very tangible good news from Marathon Patent Group. I did mention this piece of news yesterday that I left you guys on a little cliffhanger. This is it. So Marathon Patent Group announces purchase of additional 10,000 S19 Pro miners from Bitmain. This is huge. So Riot just recently released some news similar to this. Marathon Patent Group really following the footsteps. It's so bullish, okay? Just from like the bare bones fundamental perspective, you guys, that these companies are accumulating more miners. More miners means more Bitcoin, or more miners means more computing power, means more Bitcoin rewarded to you. Price of Bitcoin goes up, that means more revenue, okay? And everything's just tying together, okay? Especially for these Bitcoin miners. I know Riot Blockchain, I want to say this right off the bat, kind of on the subject of MicroStrategy as well, how MicroStrategy has a lot of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Square does. Riot also has a significant amount of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and I don't think these guys are selling. These guys are mining a lot of Bitcoin right now, and if the price of Bitcoin is appreciating at such a rapid pace, why would they be encouraged to sell? So I have to imagine that these guys are stocking up on Bitcoin, getting ready for the bull cycle, and that just makes me that much more bullish. Okay, they get paid in Bitcoin. They get it paid literally, because that's what they get paid in, is Bitcoin, for mining the Bitcoin blockchain and validating the blockchain. So I mean, the price of Bitcoin goes up. They're accumulating an appreciating asset that's appreciating at a very rapid pace. So just super bullish on these, you guys. So I'm excited to get into it, but before we do, as always, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it, or if you're invested in Riot, Mar, or Hive. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this. Super bullish on this sector, so excited about where this is going, and I'm just so pumped to be on this ride with all of you guys. And of course, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter. First link in the description if you want to know not only how I'm exactly how I'm trading all of the names we're talking about today, but literally every other stock in my portfolio. There's a lot of other exciting Bitcoin and cryptocurrency blockchain plays, not only in the stock market, but in the actual cryptos as well. So super excited just about this new bull market. Excited to take you guys on with that. And of course, with every update to the actual portfolio, I send out a newsletter to your email every single trading day during market hours. So it's real-time updates from me when the market's actually open, where I go over, rationalize the trades I made that day. And not only that, but I do let you guys know what's exciting me in the markets. We'll talk just macroeconomic news. We'll talk whatever I feel is important information that I'm personally looking at and want to share with you guys. So I really appreciate it if you check that out. First link in the description. If not, no worries though. Let's get into this. So of course, you guys, we do always have to kick it off with the fundamentals. So we'll quickly, these are real short articles. I will just read some headlines. Aside from this, we'll read a couple paragraphs here, but we'll go through these real quick and then we'll dive straight into some technicals, go through just all three back to back. Okay. So huge day for the home team. Days like these never get old. The first thing I look at every morning when I wake up is the price of Bitcoin. If it's up, which it is, it's almost at 14K right now. It's crazy. I know we're sitting pretty in the stock portfolio as well. The primary thing that's really exciting me today, though, is that we're finally confirming that Bitcoin is breaking correlation to equities. Equity indices across the board are in the red, while BTC and the rest of the crypto sector are in the green. This is just the cherry on top of all the other fundamentals that Bitcoin has going for it right now. And 3 stars, the stars are aligning, you guys. I keep saying it, but it's so true. Like the fundamentals, the news, the fundamental catalysts just keep piling on. And the technicals look great as well, which we will get into, okay? So super exciting. Let's finish this. We've been talking about this for a while. The more that people educate themselves on Bitcoin, the more they'll understand what it truly is. An absolutely scarce digital asset in a class of its own. And that's a perfect like elevator pitch. An absolutely scarce digital asset, and it's in a class of its own. It is breaking correlation equities, you guys. This is so bullish. I've been saying this for months now. I'm sure many of you, let me know in the comments down below if you remember me saying this over the past couple months. But this is one of the things that I've really wanted to see happen, and it's finally happening. And it just makes me even, like, I've been preaching Bitcoin, you guys. It makes me that much more bullish, if that's even possible. But it is. I've been proven that it is. You guys know that my hands are stronger than they've ever been, but I do have some thoughts regarding how I plan on trading this rally that I'd like to share with you. So I'm not going to get into those. You guys know the deal. Respect the subscribers, but we will go over some charts. So excited to talk to you guys about some technicals there. So again, right here, we'll just read this first paragraph. This is more of a thought piece. But again, you guys, the reason I thought this was important is just because news is coming out. The more news that comes out, the more people become aware of this. Obviously, crazy price action like we've seen in some of these stocks really attracts a lot of eyes as well. But news, the fundamentals matter a lot as well. So Riot Blockchain is near the top of its industry group according to Investors Observer. Riot gets an overall rating of 64. That means it scores higher than 64% of stocks. That's pretty good. Riot Blockchain Inc. gets an 84 rank in the software applications. Software applications, you guys, SaaS, huge, obviously blowing up industry in a world that is trending digital at a very, very rapid pace. That's a good industry you want to be in, is software application. Software application is number 59 out of 148 industries. So that's pretty good as well. I just like all the stats there. But again, you guys, it's just the consistency of good news. Riot did, like Mara, which we'll go over right now, accumulate a bunch of miners not too long ago. So Mara following in Riot's footsteps, huge. I'm so bullish. Keep saying it. I'll keep saying it because it's true. I'm so freaking bullish on both of these stocks right now. So we'll read this. Upon delivery and full installation of Mara's purchase of an additional 10,000 S19 Pro miners from Bitmain, the company's mining operations will include 23,560 next-generation miners, making it the largest self-miner in North America with a total hash rate of 2.56 exahashes. Okay, so huge news. We're not going to dive into it. I will. You guys just check this out. Marathon Patent Group news. You can easily find this Globe Newswire if you want to read the rest. But that's all you need to know, you guys. They're accumulating more miners. The more miners you have, the more computing power you have, the more Bitcoin you can mine, and ultimately the more profits you make, okay? And the more you accumulate Bitcoin, that's the real thing. It's not profits, it's the more Bitcoin you have on your balance sheet, which is, again, we'll cover MicroStrategy. I'll record that after this, I should say. Again, if I did post that already, I hope you guys like that. And MicroStrategy is so bullish on MicroStrategy as well right now. But anyway, more Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Great for these Bitcoin miners. Let's talk some technicals and wrap it up. This is a nice quick one. Okay, so Riot looking very good right now. So Riot, of course, you guys know that for medium to longer term, when I'm thinking about trading on the medium to long-term time horizon, I do like the 4-hour candles. I feel like it's the best, more specifically medium term, but I like it for a longer term as well. But we'll call it medium term just because that's a safe bet. I do like looking at the 4 hours though, and I do feel like those are the best personally for trading, like swing trading, which is what I do. Okay. So as you can see here, just on this longer, I will call this like a longer medium to long-term time frame. You can see here that I've had this line drawn for so long, and keep in mind, you guys, this is a very conservative trend line because we could draw something a lot more like this, which I wouldn't be surprised at all if it plays out. Okay, so this would put us not significantly higher, but a little bit higher than where the cyan line is here. So actually, you know what, I'll just extend this out for fun just to see what would happen. Okay, so it's not crazy higher actually, now that I'm looking at these angles, but it is significantly higher. So I can say with a lot, I mean, you guys keep in mind, I have no idea if this is actually going to play out or not. Riot could absolutely fall off a cliff tomorrow. I think it's highly unlikely, but keep in mind, you guys, I don't know if this, I'm not a freaking fortune teller. I'm not a genie, but it's looking so strong to me right now. Riot is looking so strong. And I think it is almost inevitable that Riot once again tests the line of resistance on this longer term uptrend that we've seen over the past few months. Riot's been taking off. There's obviously strength here, even though it's corrected a couple times. It just makes sense that we've seen the both, again, I keep saying this, these two descending triangles that we've seen broken out to the upside. We see this from like $2 shoot all the way up to $4 and $50. So after this correction, after its first rally, it over 2x'd. So it only makes sense to me that after this current rally, where its low is at $2.50, we see another 2x at least, if not a lot more, because the fundamentals behind Bitcoin are so much stronger and Bitcoin is going up, that we see at the very least 2x. That would take us to $5. But again, you guys, I think it's almost inevitable that we come up to retest these trend lines. So if we do that, again, this is on a more medium-term time frame, I think it's very likely that we come up to, if we test it, say, let's say November 10th, just use that as the example, because things can happen very fast, you guys. Look at the history of Riot if you want to know what I'm talking about there, but things can go parabolic and they can just shoot to the moon very fast. So be ready, be prepared for that if it does happen. And be ready to freaking cheer some drinks if it does happen as well. So again, if it does hit just on November 10th, for an example, just throwing these numbers out there, it would reach, if it reached my conservative trend line of resistance on this ascending channel, not really a channel, but you know, just this move up, this bull rally, this bull market, then it would be at about $6.31. If on November 10th it tested this absolute line, which I think is actually more likely because that's what a lot of traders are going to be looking at, it would bring us to the $6.75. So super freaking bullish for Riot. I think, again, you guys, I think it's almost inevitable that we come up to a test at the very least this trend line over the, I'm not going to say it's going to happen by the 10th. It could happen at this 25th is when I have this arrow drawn here, okay? And this arrow really means nothing. You can see that it's working pretty nicely. I just randomly drew this arrow, but it's working pretty nicely as a line of support on this uptrend. So say it hits it on the 25th, that would bring us to a 666, spooky season, $6.66 Riot. And if we do hit this top trend line, which I think, again, I think it's very likely actually that we hit this red one now that I'm the more fundamentally bullish I become on Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners, $7.15 wouldn't surprise me at all. And we could go a lot higher than that. Again, Riot reached a peak of $45 back in 2017 when Bitcoin is at 20K. So say Bitcoin hits 20, 30, 40, Bitcoin gets to new all-time highs, we'll just say that much. I could see a $100 Riot. Again, especially because there's so many new retail investors out there, new Robinhood traders specifically. Riot is a very popular stock on Robinhood, and you want Robinhood traders hopping on stocks like this, especially with a low market cap. Riot at $4 is just under a $200 million market cap, you guys. That is still tiny in the grand scheme of things. Riot could easily 10x in my opinion, and it would only be at a $2 billion market cap. And still, $2 billion is still objectively very small when you're comparing it to the rest of the stock market. Okay, so that's very important. That's like the most important thing to keep in mind. On top of all the fundamentals is the fact that it does not take much new capital inflow to these stocks, Mars specifically, which we'll look into after this, to rise the price of the individual share. Okay, so moving in here, just a quick short term. I don't usually do this, but I think it's important if you guys do wanna try trading this. I think it's almost inevitable that on the short term, from the beginning of October, Riot has set this. It's in an ascending channel right here. So you can see here, these are the tops. This is now the line of resistance. You can draw a line here. I'm not gonna, but I mean, Riot is just looking so strong. So on a short-term time frame, you can see here, just in the past couple of days, we saw the first run up, correct back down to its initial high. Second run up, correct down to its initial high right here. So Riot is just following like very obviously technical, like technical 101 patterns right here, which we love to see. It means that traders are in here, but again, you guys, the more traders traders actually bring a nice balance, especially because we look at the technicals. So we want to be on the right side and the understanding side of this trade, and really have an idea of what's going on technically, because that's very important to keep in mind as well. The more Riot appreciates, the more traders are going to be in here, and the more technicals will come into play ultimately. Okay, so again, I think it's inevitable that on the very short term, like I'm saying, this could happen in the next couple of days, probably by the end of the week. I think it's very likely that we see a $4.75 Riot-ish. You guys, again, give or take. Say we hit it, say we test this trend line on the shorter term uptrend on November 5th. Okay, that would bring us to a $5 Riot exactly, and that would make sense to me as well if we do test that. I think it's going to happen a lot faster just because I'm so bullish on Bitcoin once again. But that's a short term. Keep in mind, you guys, I'm just focused on the long term. My hands are strong right now. Let's move on to Mara and let you guys know what's going on here. So Mara following a similar pattern. Mara is actually up right now, I believe, a few percent after hours at the time of recording. So that's great. Mara, at the very least, I think it's very likely that we see Mara come up to test. This is like a pretty organic channel right here that it's on. I think it's very likely that we at least test this. If not, like, you could draw that line, which makes sense as well. And we could actually come up to test, which actually, now that I'm looking at it, again, you guys, like, I don't have all this stuff pre-figured out. Sometimes I look at these charts. I did just look at this chart earlier today, of course. I did send this out to the newsletter as well. But keep in mind, you guys, like, I'm always learning with you guys. I'm always kind of adapting my thoughts. So just keep that in mind. Again, you guys, if we follow this, which does seem actually more likely to me now, again, it could take us, and you could almost even make it more extreme if you do, like, that, like at the beginning of this run. So if we did that, which also makes sense to me, that could take us in the very near future to like $3.60, which is about $1 up. And that's a significant percentage gain from where we're at right now. That's like a 30-40% gain. And that could happen very fast, you guys. Keep that in mind. I think this will happen fast. We've seen it happen in Mara in the past, just really, literally very recently. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Mara surpass the previous highs that it set back in August, because Bitcoin's higher, the fundamentals are stronger, and again, with MicroStrategy's earnings coming out and people understanding how important it is for companies to have Bitcoin on their balance sheets, I think this could be very good for Bitcoin miners, any Bitcoin related stocks, which obviously these are. Okay, so Mara looking super promising. Again, the long term, these things could go absolutely parabolic, so keep that in mind, you guys. I'm just trying to, once things start to spike, and I said this in the newsletter this morning, once the floodgates are open, like once that spark ignites the flame, that fire is going to start ripping, and it's going to happen fast, and it's going to be hot. And I just want you guys to be ready, be prepared for that when it does happen, okay? So moving on to Hive, and we'll close it out here. Hive, I'm actually going to zoom out here. So I don't trade Hive all that much personally because it's an OTC stock, which means it's over the counter. I do hold a bag of Hive, I will say that much, but I don't trade it as much as Riot and Mara. I just don't. I think Hive is a great company, but I just don't like. The thing I really like about Riot and Mara is that there's liquidity. You don't have to deal with the OTC, which isn't a huge deal, but because I just like the liquidity aspect and the not over-the-counter aspect of Riot and Mara as opposed to Hive. But Hive is looking pretty good right now. It's back in this very organic ascending channel. This is a very healthy channel that has been setting since these March lows, okay? So now that we're back in this channel, like, Hive is at like a very low, it's on the line of support. And I can't imagine that it will fall back below this line of support now that it's back up in the channel. You could have said that here and here, but now that Bitcoin's just looking so strong, again, the more people who are looking at Bitcoin, investing in Bitcoin, the more they're educating themselves, the more they learn about stocks related to Bitcoin, like these miners. And although Hive is OTC, it's a little more difficult for the average retail investor to get a hold of, to take part in. I still think it can do extremely well, okay? So Hive would make perfect sense to me to come up and retest and test this line of resistance on this very, very clean ascending channel. I actually really like the look of this chart. But Yeah, I think it's almost inevitable that over time, Hive will come up to test. Say it happens end of November, November 27th. Just again, you guys just throwing dates out there to where my cursor lands. 70 cents on the dot, and 70 cents from where it's at now at about 47 cents is a very significant gain. Okay, so again, you're looking at like another 30-40% right there. And again, you guys, these things can just go to the moon and fast. Remember that when they start going parabolic, especially if other equities or other sectors in the equity markets aren't doing well, people are going to want to take their capital out of those sectors and those asset classes and move them in to sectors that are performing, and that's going to be Bitcoin related stocks. All right, so we'll call it there, you guys. I really hope you like that. Please let me know what other stocks you're excited about in this sector. There's a lot of them. Let me know. Let me know if you're invested. Let me know how you've been doing. Let me know what price you got in at. Always love just getting feedback from you guys. Just let me know what you want to watch next too, because I want to make videos that you guys want to see, of course. So again, I'm super excited to record. I'll record the MicroStrategy video right after this. I'm pumped to go over that one. And let me know if you guys are invested in MicroStrategy. Once again, shout out to the newsletter group. We've been on that one for a while. If you got in, if you happen to do your own due diligence and research on those calls, of course, and you happen to pick up maybe similar calls or literally any calls on MicroStrategy, we're going to be waking up to some beautiful green. Okay, so stakes on you. Yeah, you guys, again, just drop a comment down below, talk about whatever you want. Always love talking shop with you guys, always love learning from you guys. So I'll catch you downstairs, and until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.